Ever think about how, like, quests, they might not be what they seem on the surface? Like, what if there's more to the story, like when someone's gone missing, or we are searching for some ancient relic?
Oh, totally. It's like that time in our recent game we were going after this stolen relic.
Okay.
We fought through all these crazy ruins and figured out these tricky traps, but then when we finally found the relic, it was a fake.
Oh, no.
The whole thing was a trick by another adventuring party while they went and got the real treasure.
Whoa, that's a serious twist.
Right.
Well, it kind of reminds me of what we're talking about today. We're doing a deep dive into 7 really creative D&D adventure hooks. They all center around hidden agendas, and they come from an article by Bellow on LitRPG Reads.
Nice.
So these hooks, they like add all these layers of mystery and intrigue,
Yeah.
To make your campaigns more complex and interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So the first hook, it's called The Missing Heir, and it starts with this classic situation.
Okay.
This really desperate noble is begging for help because their heir has vanished. And they're really pulling at your heartstrings, promising rewards and making the heir seem totally helpless.
Okay, I see where this is going. But what if the heir isn't actually missing at all?
Exactly.
Like, what if the noble is just putting on this act to see if you're really loyal, to see how far your party will go to keep their word?
Totally. And you gotta think about it from the noble's perspective. To even pretend a kidnapping happened, they have to be pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what else they might be capable of. What if it's not even about loyalty, but about getting rid of someone they see as a threat? Like maybe the heir could challenge their power someday, and your party is unknowingly helping them eliminate a rival.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine how the players would feel when they figured that out?
Yeah.
It'd be like a total betrayal, making them rethink everything they thought they knew about the quest and the nobles they were trying to help.
Yeah. How do you think your party would handle something like that?
That's a good question. It would definitely depend on their characters, but I think there'd be a lot of anger and maybe a desire for revenge.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So moving on to the second hook, this one's called the Cursed Relic.
Okay.
And it really plays on the idea of like the unknown and all its allure.
Yeah.
It starts with a scholar who's like super thirsty for knowledge, and they come to your party asking for help retrieving this dangerous artifact.
Interesting.
They promise crazy riches, historical significance, maybe even a chance to learn some forgotten magic.
Sounds tempting.
It does, right. But what if their motives aren't as pure as they seem?
Yeah, that's where the hidden agenda comes in, right?
Yeah.
What if they're not after knowledge, but power? Like the relic isn't some key to the past, but a way to summon something truly evil.
Exactly. And because they're so focused on their goal, they don't even realize they're becoming a puppet. The relic's manipulating them to unleash chaos.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Thanks. So think about what this would do to the player's decisions. Do they trust the scholar and get the relic? Or do they dig deeper, maybe risking the quest to uncover the truth?
Yeah, that hidden agenda really adds a layer of moral complexity to their actions. It's like, do you prioritize the mission, or do you follow your gut feeling that something's off?
Right. Okay, so up next we have the Mercenary Gambit, which is kind of a twist on that classic protect the caravan idea.
Okay, I think I know this one.
You're hired to guard all these valuable goods as they travel through dangerous territory. Sounds pretty simple on the surface.
It does, but I'm guessing there's a catch.
You bet. What if there's a saboteur hiding right there in the caravan?
Oh, wow.
Someone who seems totally loyal but is actually working against you. Maybe they want revenge, or they're greedy, or even secretly working with your enemies.
Oh man, that's intense.
It is, right? Now, the players aren't just fighting off external threats. They have to deal with suspicion and paranoia within their own group.
Oh yeah, that would change things completely. Now they can't even trust the people they're supposed to be working with.
Exactly. Think about the dynamics this creates within the party. Do they start accusing each other? Do they doubt everyone around them? Or do they stick together and try to figure out who the traitor is before it's too late?
It's a great point. It's not just about fighting monsters anymore. It's about psychology and trust. It becomes a whole different kind of challenge.
Right. Okay, so for our fourth hook, we've got the Forgotten Temple.
Ooh, Forgotten Temples always sound intriguing. What's the story here?
Well, it starts with this mysterious map that leads your party to this ancient ruin, all right? Looks like it hasn't been touched for centuries. It's full of promises of lost knowledge and tons of treasure. But
there's a hidden agenda lurking in the shadows.
you got it. What if the temple isn't as abandoned as it seems?
Okay, I like where this is going.
What if it's like a battleground for some mystical power struggle? Maybe ancient beings are fighting for control of its magic, or there are rival factions clashing.
Oh, that's a cool twist. So the players stumble into this conflict that's way bigger than they are.
Exactly. And their actions could accidentally tip the balance of power in a way they never imagined.
I can see how this hook would let the Dungeon Master really go all out with world building and lore.
Absolutely. You could have ancient prophecies, cryptic symbols, echoes of a lost civilization, all adding to the mystery and pulling the players deeper into the temple's secrets.
I love that. So much potential for a really epic campaign.
Right. Okay, so now let's spice things up with a little competition. The fifth hook is called the Rival Adventuring Party, and it pits your group against another band of heroes.
Okay, I'm intrigued already. What are they competing for?
Could be anything. A valuable prize, a coveted title, you name it. This rivalry just adds a layer of excitement and urgency to every challenge.
Oh yeah, definitely. But here's a thought. What if the rival party has motivations that go beyond just winning the prize?
Interesting. You're thinking like a true dungeon master.
Well, I do try. What if they're driven by something deeper? A personal vendetta, maybe a divine prophecy, or a mission from a powerful patron?
I like it.
Yeah.
Their actions might seem ruthless on the surface, but what if there's actually a noble purpose behind them?
Exactly. And this forces the players to really think about how they approach the situation.
Right. Do they see these rivals as enemies to be crushed? Or do they consider working together? Maybe they need to team up to face a bigger threat.
That's a tough choice, and it really makes the players examine their own values and how far they're willing to go for victory.
Okay, so our next hook is the Betrayed Patron.
Betrayed patron. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay, so picture this. A wealthy benefactor comes to your party seeking justice for some wrong that was done to them. They're offering tons of rewards and a chance to right a terrible injustice.
So far, so good. Sounds like a typical quest, but I'm guessing there's a twist.
Oh, there's definitely a twist.
Huh.
What if the patron's story is a complete fabrication?
Well, hold on. You mean they're lying?
Exactly. What if they're manipulating your party to get rid of their rivals? Or cover up some dark secret? Or maybe even unleash something evil upon the world? The players think they're fighting for a noble cause, but they're actually pawns in a much bigger and more sinister game.
Man, that's cold. I can already imagine the players' faces when they realize they've been tricked.
Oh yeah, it'd be a major shock. Now, how do you think a dungeon master could hint at this deception without giving it away too early?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you could have some inconsistencies in the patron's story. Or maybe certain NPCs warn the players about the patron's true nature, but they dismiss it at first. You could even have them discover a hidden document that reveals the patron's real intentions, but make it tough to find.
Yeah, those are great ideas. It's all about creating that sense of suspicion without making it too obvious. You want the players to feel like they're uncovering the truth themselves.
Exactly. And that moment of realization when they finally put all the pieces together, that's what makes it so satisfying.
Okay, so our final hook for today is called the Enchanted Forest.
Ooh, enchanted forests always sound magical. What kind of adventure awaits in this one?
Well, imagine a realm of beauty and wonder, right? Magic's in the very air. There's this mysterious signal, a whispered prophecy, or maybe a strange vision that draws your party into its depths, promising adventure and untold secrets.
So far, it sounds pretty standard for an enchanted forest, but I know there's got to be more to it.
You know me too well. What if the forest itself is alive, a sentient being with its own agenda?
Oh, wow. That's a cool concept. So the forest isn't just a setting, it's a character in its own right.
Exactly. Maybe it's trying to protect a delicate balance, guarding a portal to another world, or even manipulating the players for its own mysterious reasons.
I love that. It really challenges the idea of good and evil. The forest might not be intentionally harmful, but its goals might not align with the player's goals.
Right. So now the players have to navigate this landscape where they're not even sure who's a friend or foe. And even the most beautiful and peaceful places can be hiding danger.
I can see how running a campaign with a sentient forest would require the dungeon master to be very creative and thoughtful.
Oh, definitely. The forest's actions have to feel natural and organic, not forced or random. You could use subtle clues, like the way the animals behave, the way plants grow, or even the weather patterns, to hint at what the forest is thinking and feeling.
That's awesome. The forest itself is communicating with the players, but in a way that's not immediately obvious.
Exactly. It's all about creating that sense of mystery and wonder and making the players feel like they're truly immersed in this living, breathing world.
I love it. It's like the whole forest is a character with its own personality and motivations.
Okay, so now that we've gone through all 7 hooks, let's talk about how to make these ideas come to life at your gaming table.
Yeah, let's get practical. What are some tips for DMs who want to use hidden agendas in their campaigns?
Well, one of the most important things is foreshadowing. You can't just spring the hidden agenda on your players out of nowhere.
Right, it has to feel like it's been woven into the story from the very beginning. Like there were hints all along, but we just didn't pick up on them.
Exactly. So let's take the missing heir hook as an example. You could have the players meet NPCs who have their doubts about the noble's story.
Okay, like maybe there are rumors about some family feud, or they hear that the noble has a shady past.
Exactly. Those hints might not mean much at first, but as the players learn more, they start putting the pieces together. And you can do similar things with the other hooks, too.
Yeah, like in the Cursed Relic, the relic itself could be a source of foreshadowing. Maybe it hums, or the temperature drops when the players are near it.
Ooh, I like that. Or maybe the scholar starts acting really weird and obsessed as the quest goes on.
Yeah, totally. Like they're being influenced by the relic without even realizing it.
With the mercenary gambit, you could plant seeds of doubt about the caravan crew. Maybe some of them are acting shifty, or the players overhear arguments between them.
Yeah, that would definitely make the players suspicious.
Right. And for the Forgotten Temple, you could use the environment itself to foreshadow the hidden agenda. Maybe the players find murals that show some ancient power struggle, or evidence of rituals that hint at a darker purpose for the temple.
Those are great ideas. It's all about using the setting to tell a story and give the players clues without being too obvious.
Okay, so with the rival adventuring party, you could hint at their true motives through what they say and do. Maybe they seem a little too eager to achieve a certain goal, or they say things that suggest they have a hidden plan.
Yeah, like they might drop hints about their backstory or their real reasons for being there.
Right. And with the betrayed patron, the patron's behavior could be a big giveaway. Maybe they become more demanding as the quest goes on, or they're not as charming as they seemed at first.
Yeah, like their true personality starts to show through the cracks.
Exactly. And for the enchanted forest, you could use the forest itself to hint that it's alive. Maybe the trees whisper warnings, or the animals act strangely, guiding the players toward certain paths or away from danger.
Ooh, that's so cool. It's like the forest is trying to communicate with them.
Right. And all of this foreshadowing, it's not about tricking or frustrating the players. It's about making the game more exciting and memorable. When the hidden agenda is revealed, it should be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, but it makes total sense now.
Exactly. It's like all the pieces of the puzzle finally fall into place. It's that aha moment that makes it all worthwhile.
Right. So foreshadowing is key, but we also have to talk about player agency. Hidden agendas are great for adding twists and surprises, but they shouldn't take away the player's ability to make choices that matter.
Oh, absolutely. It's still their story, and their decisions should have real consequences.
Exactly. Think about the missing heir scenario again. If the players uncover the noble's deception, they have options. They could confront the noble, expose their lies, or even try to use the situation to their advantage.
Right. Like maybe they blackmail the noble or try to manipulate them into doing something for them.
Exactly. The point is, the players are in control, and their choices drive the story forward.
And it's the same with all the other hooks, too. In the Cursed Relic, they could choose to destroy the relic, even if it means sacrificing the scholar, or they could find a way to break the curse and maybe even use the relic's power for good.
Right. And in the mercenary gambit, they could actually decide to side with the saboteur, betraying the caravan for personal gain, or they could expose the saboteur and earn the trust of the caravan crew.
So many possibilities. And with the Forgotten Temple, they could align themselves with one of the factions fighting for power, or maybe they try to stay neutral and find a solution that benefits everyone.
Yeah. And in the rival adventuring party, they could cooperate with their rivals, or they could double down on the rivalry and try to sabotage each other.
Oh man, that would be intense.
Right? And with the betrayed patron, they could forgive the patron, or they could seek revenge, even if it means crossing a moral line.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Sometimes forgiveness is harder than revenge.
That's true. And with the enchanted forest, they could respect the forest's boundaries and try to preserve its balance, or they could try to exploit its power for their own gain.
So many choices. It really highlights how important player agency is in D&D.
Absolutely. The hidden agenda shouldn't feel like a railroad. It should be a catalyst for the players to make meaningful choices. and face the consequences of those choices.
I agree. It's all about giving the players the freedom to shape the story and create their own adventure.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the player side of things, but let's give some advice to the dungeon masters out there.
Yeah. What are some things DMs need to keep in mind when they're using hidden agendas?
Well, first off, hidden agendas can be a really powerful tool for storytelling, but you got to use them carefully. The goal is to make the game more engaging and memorable, not to trick or frustrate your players.
Right, you want them to be surprised and intrigued, not angry or feeling like they were cheated.
Exactly. So how do we strike that balance? How do we make hidden agendas challenging and exciting without making the players feel like they're being manipulated?
That's the million-dollar question. Any tips?
Well, for starters, the hidden agenda has to make sense. It can't just be some random twist for shock value. It needs to fit with the story and the world you've created.
Right. It has to feel like it grew organically from the characters and their motivations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the players need a fair chance of figuring it out. The clues should be there, but they shouldn't be too obvious. It's all about finding that sweet spot between giving them enough info to be curious, but not giving away the whole game.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
It is. And the consequences of the hidden agenda have to matter, but they shouldn't be super harsh. The players should feel like their choices have weight, but they shouldn't be punished for not figuring things out right away. It's all about being challenging but fair.
That makes sense.
And maybe most importantly, you got to be flexible as a dungeon master. You can't always predict how your players are going to react to a hidden agenda. They might surprise you with their insights or deductions, or they might even embrace the twist and run with it in a way you never expected.
Oh, totally. That's one of the things I love about D&D. It's a collaborative storytelling experience, and the players can bring so much creativity to the table.
Absolutely. And you have to be ready to adapt, to change your plans on the fly, and let the story evolve organically based on what your players do and decide.
That's a great point. It reminds us that the best D&D campaigns are the ones where everyone is working together to create a story that's both exciting and unpredictable.
Exactly. It's a partnership between the dungeon master and the players, and that's what makes it so much fun.
I agree. It's like we're all co-authors of this epic tale, and we never know exactly where it's going to lead us.
So let's say you're running that missing heir scenario, and you've planned for the noble to try and get rid of the party, but what if the players decide to befriend the noble's rivals? Or they uncover evidence that the noble's guilty of something else entirely?
Oh, that's a good question. What do you do as a DM when the players throw you a curveball like that?
Well, you have a couple of choices. You can stick to your original plan and try to force the story back on track, but that might make the players feel like their choices don't really matter.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very fun for them.
It wouldn't, right. So the other option is to embrace the unexpected. Take what the players have discovered and weave it into the narrative. Maybe even change the whole direction of the story.
Oh, I like that. It shows the players that you're listening to them and that their actions have real consequences in the world.
Exactly. It's all about being flexible and letting go of your preconceived notions about how the story should go.
That's a great point. It's a reminder that we're not in complete control as DMs. We're creating a world, but it's the players who bring it to life through their actions and choices.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we've covered a lot about flexibility and reacting to the unexpected, but what about pacing? How do we reveal a hidden agenda without rushing it or dragging it out too long?
Pacing. That's crucial for creating a truly immersive experience. It's not just about the plot. It's about how you unfold it.
Right, you can't just bombard the players with twists and revelations all at once. It's like you said, it's about creating an experience.
Exactly. It's like a good mystery novel. You start by introducing the characters, the setting, laying the groundwork for the mystery to come.
And then you start dropping those little hints, subtle clues that suggest something's not quite right, but without giving too much away too soon.
You got it. Keep the players guessing, make them question everything and everyone.
Yeah, and as the story progresses, you can start to ramp up the tension, revealing more clues, introducing new complications, raising the stakes.
And then finally you have the big reveal, the moment when the hidden agenda is exposed. That's the climax of the story, and it has to be impactful, memorable, and emotionally satisfying.
Absolutely. You want the players to gasp, to be on the edge of their seats, to feel like all those clues and hints have led to this one amazing moment of truth.
Okay, so let's get specific. How do we pace the revelation of a hidden agenda? Let's say we're doing the missing heir scenario, and we want to reveal the noble's true motives gradually.
Okay, I'm listening.
We could start by having the players run into NPCs who aren't so sure about the noble's sincerity. Maybe they've heard gossip about a family feud, or they know the noble has a history of shady dealings.
Oh yeah, like planting those seeds of doubt early on.
Exactly. As the players investigate, they could find more concrete evidence, like a forged document or a secret letter that exposes the noble's true intentions.
That's a great idea. It gives the players a chance to do some detective work and feel like they're uncovering the truth themselves.
Right. And then finally, you could stage a confrontation between the players and the nobles, where everything comes out in a dramatic and impactful way. It's all about building to that moment of revelation and making sure it feels earned and satisfying for the players.
Yeah, it's like the climax of a movie or a TV show. You want it to be exciting and memorable and leave the audience wanting more.
Exactly. And that's what we're aiming for as Dungeon Masters, to create those epic moments that our players will talk about for years to come.
Yeah, an atmosphere, it's not just about what happens in the story. It's about the mood, the feeling that surrounds those hidden agendas.
Right, like you can turn those simple twists into really immersive experiences if you set the right tone.
Exactly. Take the cursed relic, for instance. To really make it creepy, describe the relic like it's giving off weird heat, casting these strange shadows.
Okay.
Maybe the air crackles with energy, or the players feel like the artifact's trying to pull them in, like it's calling to them.
I like that. And what about sound? Like maybe the relic hums or whispers things that only certain players can hear.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. Or maybe it messes with the environment, like plants start to wilt, or animals run away, or even the weather goes crazy.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
Yeah.
It makes the relic feel like more than just some object. It's like it has a presence.
Right. It becomes a character in its own right.
Okay, so for the mercenary gambit, you could use atmosphere to build that sense of paranoia.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like have the players overhear hushed conversations, maybe see suspicious glances between the caravan crew.
Okay.
Maybe they find a secret compartment with shady stuff inside, or signs that someone's been sabotaging the caravan.
Yeah, those are great ideas. And what about isolation? Like, imagine the caravan traveling through a desolate wasteland with that feeling of being watched, like unseen enemies are lurking just beyond their sight.
Oh, that's a good one. It definitely amps up the tension, makes them question everything and everyone.
Right, it's all about creating that atmosphere of uncertainty and distrust.
Okay, now let's shift gears to the Forgotten Temple. Here we want to create an atmosphere of mystery and wonder.
Okay, yeah, Forgotten Temples are all about that sense of ancient secrets and hidden power.
Exactly. Describe the temple as overgrown, crumbling walls, statues covered in moss, and this eerie silence broken only by the wind.
Ooh, that's spooky. I like it.
What if the players discover secret chambers filled with strange artifacts, or they see ghostly figures that seem to be guarding the temple's secrets?
I love that. And you could play with light and shadow, two dimly lit chambers with beams of sunlight hitting dust particles in the air.
Right. It creates that feeling of awe and unease at the same time.
Exactly. It's like you're stepping into another world, a world that's both beautiful and dangerous.
Okay, so moving on to the betrayed patron.
Yeah.
You can use subtle changes in atmosphere to hint at the coming betrayal.
Oh, yeah, that's smart. Like, how would you do that?
Maybe the patron's manner becomes darker, more oppressive, or their personality shifts, they become colder, less charming, more calculating.
Yeah, that's subtle but effective. It's like a slow burn leading up to the big reveal.
Exactly. You want the players to feel that something's off, but they can't quite put their finger on it.
Right. And then when the betrayal happens, it's like all those little hints suddenly make sense.
Okay, and finally we have the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
To make it truly immersive, we need to capture that fairy tale vibe.
Okay, yeah, like how do we bring that sense of magic and wonder to life?
Describe the forest as teeming with light sunlight, filtering through the leaves, birds singing, sweet-smelling flowers everywhere.
I love that. It sounds so peaceful and inviting.
It does, right? But remember, even in fairy tales, there's often a dark side.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what if the players encounter fantastical creatures or discover hidden groves where the laws of nature don't seem to apply?
Okay, I like that. It adds a touch of the surreal and unpredictable. And what about dreams? Like maybe the players have vivid dreams that give them clues to the forest's secrets, but they're not sure what's real and what's not.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea. It blurs the line between reality and fantasy.
Exactly. And it really plays into that feeling of being lost in an enchanted world.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about atmosphere, but atmosphere alone isn't enough to make these scenarios really work. The players have to buy into the story they need to be invested in the quest and emotionally connected to what's happening.
Yeah, that's a really important point. If the players don't care about the story, then all the twists and turns won't have much impact.
Right. So how do we get them invested? Well, it starts with strong character motivations. Why are the players on this quest in the first place? What are they hoping to achieve? What are the personal stakes?
Yeah, those are the questions that really drive a story.
They are. So connect the hidden agenda to the players' backstories, their relationships, their goals and aspirations.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about the plot, it's about how the plot affects the characters on a personal level.
Exactly. So for example, in the missing heir scenario, what if the heir is a childhood friend of one of the players? Suddenly the quest becomes way more personal, and the noble's betrayal hurts even more.
Yeah, that would definitely raise the stakes. And in the Cursed Relic, what if the relic holds the key to curing a disease that's affecting someone the players love?
Ooh, that's a good one. Now they have a really powerful reason to get that relic.
Right, and it's not just about greed or glory, it's about saving someone they care about.
Okay, so strong motivations are key, but we also need to be transparent with our players. I'm not saying we should reveal the hidden agenda, but we should be upfront about the style of campaign we're running.
Right, like let them know that we like to incorporate twists and turns, that their choices will have consequences, and that we're not afraid to challenge them.
Exactly. Setting those expectations helps everyone understand what kind of game we're playing, and it encourages the players to be more active and engaged. They'll be more likely to question motives, look for clues, and think critically about the situations they're in.
Yeah, it's like giving them permission to be suspicious and to really dig into the story.
Okay, so let's brainstorm some ways to boost player buy-in.
Okay, I'm ready.
For the cursed relic, maybe connect the artifact to a player's backstory somehow. Could be an heirloom or something tied to a place they visited.
Ooh, I like that. Or maybe the relic has the power to help someone they care about or defeat a recurring enemy.
Right, so now it's not just about finding some random artifact. It's about something that directly impacts their character and their personal journey.
Okay, so for the mercenary gambit, how about making the caravan's cargo something really meaningful? Like maybe it's medicine for a town that's been hit with a plague, or it's carrying refugees fleeing from war.
Oh, that's a good one. Or maybe the caravan leader is someone the players already respect and admire.
Yeah, someone they'd be willing to put their lives on the line for.
Exactly. Now the quest has higher stakes. It's not just about money anymore, it's about something bigger.
Okay, so for the Forgotten Temple, how about tying the location to the players' backstories? Maybe one of them is descended from a priest who served at the temple, or they've had visions that are drawing them there.
Ooh, I like that. Or maybe the temple holds knowledge that could help them achieve a personal goal or defeat a powerful enemy.
Yeah, that's a good one. It makes the exploration more personal and meaningful.
Okay, with the betrayed patron, I think it's important to make the patron a believable character.
Yeah.
Give them flaws, secrets, motivations that make sense.
Right. The betrayal shouldn't come out of nowhere. You need to foreshadow it through their actions and their words.
Exactly. Maybe they start becoming more demanding, more manipulative. Maybe there are inconsistencies in their story, or other NPCs warn the players about them.
Yeah, those are great ways to plant seeds of doubt.
Right. You want the players to start questioning the patron's trustworthiness even before the big reveal.
Okay, and for the Enchanted Forest, maybe connect the players to the fate of the forest itself.
Okay, I like that. Like how?
Introduce NPCs who depend on the forest, like druids or villagers who rely on its resources.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Or maybe the forest is home to an endangered species or a vital magical resource.
Right, so now the players have a reason to care about what happens to the forest.
Exactly. It's not just some random setting. It's a place that's important to the people and creatures who live there, and the players are now part of that ecosystem.
Okay, so all these techniques, they're about making the players feel like they're more than just passive participants in the story. They're active agents. Their choices shape the narrative, and their actions have real weight.
I agree. It's about empowering the players and making them feel like their decisions truly matter.
Okay, so we've talked about how to set up hidden agendas and how to get the players invested in the story, but what about the resolution? What happens when the truth comes out?
Yeah, that's an important point. It's not enough to just reveal the twist you have, to wrap things up in a way that's satisfying for everyone.
Exactly. The resolution should provide closure, show the consequences of the player's actions, and leave them with a sense of accomplishment or maybe even failure, depending on how things turn out.
Right. You don't want the players feeling cheated or like the whole thing was pointless.
Okay, so let's think about the stakes in each scenario. What are the potential outcomes? In the missing heir, failing to stop the noble could mean the downfall of a kingdom, while success could earn them a place in the royal court.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are some pretty high stakes.
They are right. And the resolution should reflect that. It should show the players that their choices had a real impact on the world.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just about winning or losing, it's about the ripple effect of their actions.
Exactly. In the Cursed Relic, maybe failing to contain the relic's power could unleash a catastrophe, but if they succeed, they could save countless lives.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's huge. And with the mercenary gambit, maybe siding with the saboteur or failing to protect the caravan could have dire consequences. But if they succeed, they solidify their reputation and open up new opportunities.
Right. And in the Forgotten Temple, aligning with the wrong faction or unleashing some ancient evil could have devastating results. But if they restore balance, they become legendary heroes.
Okay, so the consequences can be both positive and negative depending on the choices the players make.
Exactly. And in the rival adventuring party, losing the race or using dirty tactics could damage their reputation, but winning fairly earns them respect and recognition.
Yeah, like it reinforces the idea that honor and sportsmanship are important even in a world full of danger and adventure.
Okay, and with the betrayed patron, maybe the players have to choose between revenge and forgiveness.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is right. Seeking revenge might feel good in the moment, but it perpetuates a cycle of violence. Finding a peaceful solution shows compassion and wisdom.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to forgive.
And in the Enchanted Forest, maybe failing to protect the forest could have devastating consequences for its inhabitants and the balance of nature. But if they succeed, they ensure that it will thrive for generations to come.
I love that. It really highlights the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of respecting the natural world.
Exactly. And that's what we're aiming for with these resolutions, to show the players that their actions have meaning and that they can make a difference in the world.
It's about showing them what's at stake and making sure the payoff feels right for the effort they put in.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about 7 creative D&D adventure hooks, all based on Paul Bellow's article on LitRPG Reads. Each one has this cool twist with hidden agendas, adding complexity and intrigue.
Yeah, they're great tools for DMs who want to make their campaigns more engaging and memorable.
Right. It's not just about fighting monsters and getting loot. It's about telling a story that draws the players in and makes them think.
Exactly. And the best part is that these hooks can be adapted and modified to fit any campaign setting or play style.
Absolutely. You can tweak them to match your players' interests, their characters' backstories, or even current events in the game world.
And don't be afraid to get creative. You can combine different hooks, come up with your own variations, or even use them as inspiration for completely new adventure ideas.
That's a great point. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes D&D so much fun. It's a game that's constantly evolving and changing thanks to the creativity and imagination of the players and dungeon masters.
Totally. It's like we're all part of this giant collaborative storytelling experiment, and we never know what's going to happen next.
And before we wrap up today's deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay, hit us with it.
What if the most compelling hidden agendas are the ones we unknowingly create for ourselves?
Whoa, that's deep.
It is right. What motivates us? What drives our choices? And are we always aware of the forces that are shaping our actions?
That's a question worth pondering, both in the game and in real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we want to hear from you, our awesome listeners. What are your thoughts on this? Share your answers in the comments below. We're always excited to hear from you and delve deeper into the mysteries of D&D and the human experience.